Good afternoon, my dear students of Standard 9. This is your chemistry class. Welcome back to the class. Dear students, we are talking about chapter 3 of your chemistry book, Structure of Matter. Now, already we learned that atoms are made up of three fundamental particles, electron, proton, and neutron. Different scientists gave their idea about the arrangement of this electron, proton, and neutron in an atom. These arrangements were given by different scientists. From there, Rutherford's atomic model and Bohr's atomic model are mentionable. Today in this class, we will explain about these two atomic models. In Standard 8, already you got some idea about these two models. Today in this class, we will learn in detail about these two models. At first, Rutherford's atomic model. At 1911, Rutherford gave this model on the basis of alpha particle scattering experiment. The model has the following features. There is a positively charged center in an atom that is called the nucleus, and proton that is positive in charge and neutron that is chargeless reside in this nucleus, and the size of the nucleus is very small as compared to the whole atom. And electron, these negatively charged electrons revolve around the nucleus in well-defined orbits like the planets in a solar system. That means the electrons revolve around the nucleus like planets revolve around the sun. And the number of electrons in an atom is same as the number of protons, because proton is positive in charge and electron is negative in charge. So these equal numbers of electron and proton make an atom neutral. He also said that the outward centrifugal force of the electrons is balanced by the inward centripetal force. Inward centripetal force means the attraction force of negative electron and positive nucleus. You know, moving particles have centrifugal force, outward centrifugal force, and electron is negative and nucleus is positive, so there is an attraction force. This attraction force is called centripetal force. This outward centrifugal force is balanced by the inward centripetal force of electrons. Rutherford compared his model with solar system, so his model is also known as solar atom model. Again, since the Rutherford model first gave the idea of a nucleus, it is also called the nuclear model. These are the idea got from Rutherford's atomic model. But this Rutherford's atomic model has some limitation, and these limitations are: Rutherford did not give any idea about the shape and size of the orbits of electrons in an atom. Rutherford only told that electrons revolve around the orbit, around the nucleus in orbit, but he did not give any idea about the size and shape of this orbit. Rutherford's atomic model has been compared with the solar system, but in solar system, planet and sun both are neutral, but in Rutherford's atomic model, electron is negatively charged and nucleus is positively charged. So here comparison between neutral particles and charged particles is not correct. One of the drawbacks of the Rutherford's model was also that he did not say anything about the arrangement of electrons in an atom, which made his theory incomplete. There was no explanation about the rotation of many electrons in an orbit in Rutherford's atomic model. Rutherford told that electrons revolve around the nucleus, but it is possible for only one electron. But if an atom has many electrons, then these electrons revolve how? Rutherford did not tell this. And also, Rutherford's atomic model cannot give any explanation of the atomic spectra. All these limitations are overcome later, but in Rutherford's atomic model, these limitations were present. Rutherford proposed that the electrons revolve around the nucleus in fixed paths called orbits. But according to Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation, any charged particles moving in a circular path always emits energy, and its radius will become gradually smaller. Like this. Look, this charged particle electron, when it moves circular way, then gradually its radius becomes smaller, and one time it will come to the center. So, if electron comes to the center, then the stability of an atom will be loose. So, there is a great limitation of Rutherford's atomic model. Rutherford did not make clear about this. Although the early atomic models were inaccurate and failed to explain certain experimental results, they were the base for future developments in the world of quantum mechanics. Now, in 1913, Niels Bohr gave some corrections to Rutherford's atomic model. This corrected model is called the Bohr's atomic model. The main postulates of Bohr's atomic model are: according to Bohr's theory, electrons revolve in circular motion about an axis. This circular motion is called an energy level or orbit. They are also called energy shell or principal energy level. These orbits are designated by the letters K, L, M, N, O, or by the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Look here. This is nucleus, and electrons revolve around the nucleus in some circular orbits, and Bohr gave the name of these circular orbits in different way. This is the first energy level. This is K shell, L shell, M shell, N shell, or 1, 2, 3, 4. First energy level, second energy level, third energy level, fourth energy level, and so on. The angular momentum of an electron is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi, or angular momentum, that is MVR, equal nh by 2 pi, where m is the mass of an electron and it is fixed, 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. V equal linear velocity of an electron because it is the moving electron. R equal radius of the orbit. This is different for different shell. N equal orbit number, first shell, second shell, third shell, fourth shell, and h is the Planck's constant. This is a constant value. It is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 kg meter square per second. As long as the electrons revolve in a particular orbit, they can neither gain energy nor lose energy. Such orbits are called as stationary orbits or stationary states. But when an electron can jump from an orbit to another orbit, then they gain energy or lose energy. When an electron jumps from a higher orbit to a lower orbit, it releases energy. And when an electron jumps from lower orbit to a higher orbit, it absorbs energy. Look, When an atom is heated or any other way, if an atom gain energy, then electron also gains energy. That time, after gaining energy, the electron will jump from lower energy level to a higher energy level. But this energy level, higher energy level, this position of the electron, it is unstable position. After some time, electron lose the energy and again it comes back to the lower energy level. The amount of energy that is emitted or absorbed is the difference between the energies of the two levels, such as E2 minus E1 equal H nu. That means the energy that is emitted or absorbed by an electron is H nu, and H nu equal the difference of the energy level E2 minus E1. Remember, always the energy of the higher shell is more. That means the energy of L shell is more than the energy of K shell. In the same way, the energy of M shell is more than the L and K shell, and so on. Or this E2 minus E1, the difference of energy, it can be written del E. This is the difference of energy of two shell. Del E equal H nu, and del E equal nu equal C by lambda. That means del E equal H into C by lambda. Look here, when electron gains energy, then it jumps from lower energy shell to higher energy shell, and when electron loses energy, it jumps from higher energy shell to lower energy shell. Here, nu equal frequency of emitted or absorbed energy, that is second inverse or hertz. It is the unit of nu. C equal velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Lambda equal wavelength of the energy. Wavelength, its unit is meter, centimeter, nanometer, or any length unit. Now, the light which is emitted when an electron moves from higher energy level to lower energy level creates an atomic spectra when it goes through a prism. So, Bohr's atomic model can explain the stability of an atom and also the line spectrum of hydrogen atom. Dear students, look, in Bohr's atomic model, you learned some new equation and some new term. This equation and this term, these are used for doing different math, but in this junior class you will not do this math. This term also you will learn in physics, and more clearly you will learn it in your 11 and 12 classes, but now only you will learn this term and this equation. No need to do any math by using this equation. Now, this Bohr's atomic model also has some limitations. Though Bohr's model has corrected all the limitations of Rutherford's model, but it has also some limitations. They are: Bohr's atomic model can explain the spectral lines of hydrogen atom and the ions having one electron, like helium ion, lithium dipositive ion, etc. These have one electron, but it cannot explain the spectra obtained from larger atoms with many electrons. According to Bohr's model, when an electron jumps from an orbit to another orbit, a single line of spectrum is supposed to appear. But when a spectrograph is developed, then two or more lines very close together are observed. Spectrograph is a photographic machine which is used for seeing the spectrum. Bohr's atomic model cannot explain these multiple lines in atomic spectrum. According to Bohr's model, electrons revolve in circular orbits, but later on it was proved that the orbits can be of oval shape too. Now, comparison between Rutherford and Bohr's atomic model. We learned Rutherford's atomic model, its limitation, Bohr's atomic model, and also its limitation. From there, now we will compare which model is more acceptable, Bohr's atomic model or Rutherford's atomic model. Rutherford compared the orbits of electrons around the nucleus with the solar system. It did not mention anything about the size of the energy levels. But Bohr improved Rutherford's model by proposing that electrons travel in orbits that have specific energy levels. Bohr introduced the concept of electron shells. There were a drawback to the Rutherford model. It does not obey Maxwell's equation, which predict that an rotating electron should fall into the nucleus. Bohr's model is a defined, expanded model of Rutherford's atom that overcomes these two drawbacks. Bohr told that electrons revolve around the nucleus in paths called orbits. Rutherford's model does not mention about the changes in structure of atom when they absorb or emit energy, and it also could not explain the atomic spectra. Bohr explained that when electrons gain energy, they jump from lower to higher energy level, and when electrons lose energy, they drop back to lower energy level from higher energy level. In this process, light is emitted that are seen as the atomic line spectra. So from the above explanation, we can tell that Bohr did not prove that Rutherford was wrong. Rather, he improved and extended the Rutherford's model. Rutherford's model and Bohr's model of the atom are same in the way that both they explained the movement of electrons around the nucleus. But in Rutherford's model, there were some limitations, and Bohr tried to solve these problems. But Bohr corrected all the limitations of Rutherford's atomic model, so Bohr's model is more acceptable than Rutherford's atomic model. So dear students, today in this class you learned about the Rutherford's atomic model, its limitations, Bohr's atomic model, and also its limitations. And from these two models, now you can compare the both model, which model is more acceptable. So Rutherford's atomic model and Bohr's atomic model you will learn again in your upper classes, and then it will be more clear to you. Now just some primary idea you got from these two models. So today up to this, thank you everyone. Goodbye to all.